Hello, YouTube, and all sorts of things out there. This is A.K.R. Productions here to talk about a convention that I recently went to called SacAnime. SacAnime is a place where pop culture has a twist and where it was held at Sunrise Mall in 2004 where SacAnime was born. So it's been 20 years since SacAnime has ever started. I will be starting by some pros and cons and what I thought of SacAnime Summer 2024, being the 20th anniversary. Dear SacAnime, I will be breaking it down in pro and con format, so that way I can tell you as a customer on how I truly felt about the convention. And of course, I at the end will discuss or at least talk about certain things that I've noticed that were good and bad and all that. And if I remember some stuff, I'll interject and add it into here. Let's start with and I have a script on my computer screen because I wrote it, so just don't mind me. I'm going to be reading from it. Let's start with the pros and cons of SacAnime 2024. So when I left early around 5 or 6 a.m. to catch a bus because I can't afford a car because of prices going up, I got there and felt happy to be there. When the ticket in the downstairs lobby of the Sheraton Grand Hotel opened, I got my wristband, aka my ticket, with my lifetime pass. I noticed that there was a familiar bag, one I've seen before, the goodie bag. I was so happy to see them make a comeback and almost brought a tear to my eye. I was also able to get a poster for me and my fiance along with information slips about other cons and SacAnime. I noticed an old friend, a frickin' program book. Finally, I'm going to actually talk now. I'm going to say this is that when I saw, let me get it off the wall here. So when I saw this, I was so happy. I was just like, oh my god, we got program books, we got information, we actually have something where we don't have to download an app to actually see and actually physically hold something to look at. So this being brought back was really nice. And still smells like the old program books that you used to get, and it's just awesome. Granted, I believe that they were a bit thicker than this, but even still, it was nice to at least get something. And getting all of the information about the 3 days that you're there, and also getting the guest information on who's going to be there, and Jody Benson and all sorts of other people, including the Has-Been Hotel cast, which I'm sorry that Sir Pentious couldn't be there. I feel bad. And more voice actors and actresses to be there. It was quite nice, and that's it. And also be able to get an actual floor plan of SacAnime. This was nice. I enjoyed this part because, again, this brought back a lot of memories from when I started going in 2016. And when I went there and I got goodie bags upon goodie bags, I would always come home and hang the stuff up on my wall. Well, now we have a bunch of stuff hanging up on our walls here in our room. So I'm trying to find room for all this stuff so that way I can bring back some of the old days, because I used to come home, hang stuff up, but once the goodie bags ended and there were none of these left or any program books to get. I felt very gypped to not get that because prices on tickets back in those days were like $50 a pop. So it was nice to, let me see if I can find it. So it was definitely nice to get something like this. Even if it's a cheapo, plastic bag, it was nice to get this. And, be able to get things like the old days when, people when this made a comeback. It was nice to be able to get, the informational stuff to see, SacAnime August 30th or September 1st and actually be able to see who's going to be there and to be able to see arcade and video gaming on the back and huge exhibitor room for Artist Alley, live music, and some other stuff too. And it was nice to be able to get stuff like this from other conventions where you get the East Bay Comic Con, then you get Mouse Con. It was nice to see that. And, like Lodi Comic Con, where, some WWE superstars are going to be there. And Lodi Comic Con Fall. It was great to get all this information and, including like promotional stuff where the Sacramento History Museum show us your wristband, brings your SacAnime wristband, and get into our newest exhibit for half off. That was pretty cool, and to be able to get like the posters, like a big giant one for like this type of stuff here, but it's different. It shows like the next people to show. So it was really nice to get the goodie bags and be able to feel like my ticket actually was worth something, because before it didn't feel like my ticket was worth anything when we didn't have the goodie bags. I honestly felt like we weren't able to get what we paid for. We pay for a ticket, we should be at least able to go and get some sort of like informational thing without having to download apps or anything like that. That should be default. So when these came back, I was very happy. And again, this coming back, the program book, amazing. Put that down and let's continue. A frickin' program book. I was so excited. I never thought I'd be excited over a program book, but I did. So after loading up, aka the bag, this is a joke. I went to go pitch up camp. I waited until 12 p.m. And granted, this was me staying up all night because I was excited to go to SacAnime. I always get excited over these things, and I must be getting old if I'm excited to go spend money at a convention. Holy shit. So after pitching up camp, I waited till 12 p.m. It was cooler than normal, so I was happy not to be overheated. Which, by the way, on previous conventions, when me and my fiance went one time, the whole entire line wrapped around the whole entire block, and we stood there until they opened, and it was blistering hot. So the weather this year was great. It was nice and cool in the morning. I didn't get overheated. I didn't break a sweat. I was able to talk to people and be able to have a conversation and loosely make friends. So I was happy not to be overheated. I saw barriers and it was more organized, so that was a plus. And got in at a reasonable time. So far, everything, including the security staff, being super nice and even cracking jokes along with being understanding on things. So, the security staff there that would tell you when the doors are opening, they would crack jokes, they would be, they would help boost morale. And I think that the security of SacAnime and the security staff being there helped greatly. And it was beautiful, and I really enjoyed the security there that was there that day. Um, and they were understanding on things. Our feet was hurting. A bunch of people's feet were hurting, and they were understanding. They were like, "Don't worry, you'll be getting in shortly. But we're going to open doors at 12. We're going to be fine. You're going to be great. You're going to walk in, and everything's going to be grand." I was like, "Wow, these security people are nice." So, getting back to it, I loved that while they might be not a part of SacAnime, Red Bull was there and handed the security staff cold Red Bulls and the con goers. It was a nice little touch, and at this point, with a goodie bag and program book, I felt like royalty with a Red Bull. Honestly, I loved that Red Bull was there. It was nice to actually get like an energy kick before the convention and be able to have, in a sense, a cup of coffee beforehand, um, and be able to get some energy to walk the convention center. And I walked the entire convention center that day. I only went for one day, and it was really nice to go and be able to see the things there. So when Red Bull was there and handing drinks out, it was beautiful, and I hope that they do that again, because again, it was nice to have that little touch of beauty when it comes to the convention. Not beauty, but it was nice to have that touch of being able to have a cold beverage without it being warm and being nasty. It was nice actually having that. To continue, when going to the convention center, I felt like home. It felt like home, but this time it felt a bit jam packed, more so than the last one I went to. But I managed to go to the places where I wanted to be and got Jodie Benson's autograph, with getting my fiance, who was at home not feeling so well. Got her Alistair merch from the Artist Alley, so it felt good to support local artists. Overall, it went well for me, and went home happy that I got to go. So, after all of that and feeling happy that I got to go and enjoying my time, uh, I gave my fiance her things, and she enjoyed it. She was like, "Oh my gosh, thank you." And I was like, "Hey, no problem. You didn't get to go, so I wanted to get you something at least." Now, for the cons, some of the things that I'm going to be talking about, it's not me sounding bitchy, nor is it sounding like I'm trying to get, a free pass on things. So, now for the cons of SacAnime Summer 2024. For one, I did not like that the prices on things went up. I understand there's inflation for things, but as many other people pointed out, which I asked 20 or so people about the price increase, they had the same thought I did, that it's ridiculous. Granted, that's a small group of people, but there were probably more who thought and opinions were on par with mine. I asked a select few people on things, and some say that's no problem, but others said, I spent a lot of money in gas to get here. I spent a lot of money to get the ticket online. I spend a lot of money to go and spend money on the merch of SacAnime, like the t-shirts and stuff that say SacAnime on it and all that. And I spend a lot of money to go and get pre-regged up while also doing other things to guarantee that I get to go to the next con. So there were a lot of people there that were frustrated with it, and I don't blame them because of things that I will be noting here in this video. I'll get back to it. For me and my fiance to go, if we wanted to go for the next con, if we wanted VIP, would have to get a hotel room that is $259 per night, and that's in USD format for the people that aren't in the United States. So in total for a hotel room at the Sheraton is $295. Times that by 4, it equals $1,180. To me, that is expensive. That's at least a quarter of what, not even a quarter, that's like half of what my computer is worth. That's like half of a gaming computer, a really good gaming computer. That's rent for a apartment complex, pretty much, depending upon which apartments you are going to. That's buying a really cheap car off the Facebook marketplace. That's a lot of money to be spending for a singular hotel room, plus your ticket. Then pre-reg is $35 at the con, and in 11 days it's now $50. However, I'm making this video on the 12th day, so it's now $50 still. So total that with the room is $1,230, which is expensive. That's pretty much getting close to where my computer is worth, and rent and other things. So then when you go to the door, it's $70. So add that to your hotel room, with in total $1,250. Still expensive. When you add the $70 to the original $1,180, $70 is now the new price at the door for your ticket. Then to think of merch, aka vendors hall, where things I can get cheaper online, but to me, I want to support the vendors and them being there. So of course, spend $40 per figure, or some vendors selling stuff for hundreds of bucks. So that being said, for all of these prices on things, the $70 at the door, the $35 for pre-reg, the hotel room, everything, it's getting expensive. It's to the point where you're not going to be able to make rent for the next, couple of months. Or at least as it seems to me. So without a hotel room being $35, pre-reg, then $50, then $70 at the door. Plus, the merch is still hundreds of bucks. That is not including the $50 to $70 price point for autographs. Autographs are expensive. And back in the day, there was a thing where you could literally grab your program book, and when you go to like the celebrity page, you could be able to get your autograph for free on your program book and be able to fill out as many autographs as you wanted for free. That was how it worked back then, and I think it was pretty cool, unless you wanted a official poster from them, like I got for The Little Mermaid and Jodie Benson signing it, and it was $70. And of course, it would have costed more for me to actually be able to get a little like quote, like say "Part of Your World" underneath her autograph. So I wasn't able to get that. So getting back to it, let me find my spot. There it is. In my opinion, SacAnime is a small con. And with how small it is, unlike San Diego Comic Con, it gets 130,000 people to go. And we're getting 30,000, which is a small number, which is small numbers. Still, even if SacAnime has history, starting in Sunrise Mall in 2004, where SacAnime was born 20 years later. Final thoughts. I love SacAnime, don't get me wrong. It's a cool place and really fun to go to, and can't wait to go to many more in the future. I would hope that the owners of the con can understand that we aren't made of money and that we need an understanding on things. I hope that one day prices go back down to where they were before, so even more people can go. I look forward to the next one and taking my fiance to it. Now, I will rate the con from 1 to 10. Staff on how their attitude and being organized was 8.5 out of 10. The staff was really nice and was really cool. So that's why I'm rating it the way that I am. I'm not underrating or overrating. I'm rating it on how I feel. Security and their attitude, 9.5 out of 10. The security is there to be a security guard. They are there to basically do their job, not really communicate with people, and not really to engage with other people. It's mainly they're there to make sure everyone is safe, everyone goes home safe, and that there are no problems inside the convention. They're not required to be your best friend or your best bud, but with their attitude on how they were and how they cracked jokes and how they were communicating with everybody and talking and actually being cool, they get an 8.5 out of 10. Very good. I mean, clapping for you guys. You did great. Price points on SacAnime pre-reg and merch, a 4.0 out of 10. The reason why I say that is because I barely could afford to go. Like many others, they barely could afford to go as well. It was expensive. It was like, oh my gosh, I wish it was $25. Because if it was, then I would have been able to afford the t-shirt, which means I would have been able to buy a t-shirt, which means I would have been able to put a little bit more money into SacAnime's pockets. So I wasn't able to afford that. So people like me that can't afford much, they need to understand that. And they should think, how can we get money into our pockets? If they actually reduce their price back down, you would get not only a lot more people, but you would also probably get a lot more money, where it doesn't matter of the price of it being lowered, where it's like $25 pre-reg and maybe like $40 for a shirt. It $30 or $40 for a shirt. So it's like people like me would be able to get that and be able to go home feeling happy that they got something and they were able to support their favorite convention. Because the only convention I've been to is SacAnime. I can't go to any other conventions. So now the cleanliness of the convention center was an 8.5 out of 10. The reason why I say that is I did see some garbage on the floor, but not a deal breaker. It wasn't really that much of a deal breaker. I just noticed there were trash on the floor. Even I picked it up and threw it away. So that way the people that are cleaning the convention, like the janitors, aren't going to do that much work. So I did common courtesy and picked it up. So it wasn't a really big deal. For the 18 plus area, as far as people validating ages, 10 out of 10. Tested them by pretending to walk in and stopped me and asked for my ID and stood in front of me. When going again, asked me for my ID. So props to them to asking regardless if they were there multiple times or not. Meaning if I was there multiple times, like if I went in 5 or 10 times to the 18 plus area, they would validate me and they would make sure my ID was said that I was above the age of 18. So it was actually quite nice for that, because it showed that no minors were going to be able to get in. And it was that right there is 10 out of 10. They did their job. They made sure that people of age were able to go in. So 10 out of 10 for you guys. Whoever was validating ages, good for you. I'm proud of you guys on that fact, because we want to keep children safe. We want to keep, the kids safe and happy and not see things that are meant for, our adult eyes. So that is my in-depth opinion on how things went. Now, for the last bit, I am going to kind of, now that I'm off script and I'm off of the OG stuff here, I'm going to say that SacAnime has some things to improve on, like the price points, the prices, and the things on stuff. But they also have as far as the prices and everything was perfectly fine. Everything was great. I loved it. So to me, it's all about the affordability of being able to go and support people and support artists and support the vendors and to support the voice actors and actresses, and to be able to support them and their family, because they're away from their family. They're not around them. They're probably missing them, so it's nice to actually support them and give them at least a reason to be there. So that being said, it's nice to know that things have improved, but things also need to be improved still. They're still growing, they're still having all of that, so as far as I'm concerned, they're doing just fine. They just need to improve. Anyway, if you like this video, please give it a thumbs up. If you disliked it, please give it a thumbs down. If you have any opinions on the convention, please comment down below. And let's not make things a war here. Let's not make things drama filled. Let's actually have a great discussion. This is a channel that I would expect that people can act like adults, or act mature, and be able to discuss things in a nice, orderly fashion. If you at all have any other thoughts and opinions based on my execution of how I did this, then you can post them in the comment section down below as well. If you want to give me a subscription, it would be great, because I do hope to build this channel into something bigger and better. And also, I'm going to be doing a live stream soon, so stay tuned on that. I know that I said that in my comments thing in the community tab, but I plan on doing one. So, like always, have yourself a good day or night, wherever you are. This is A.K.R Productions, signing off.